This is one of the prime rivalries, Manny Pacquiao against Juan Marquez, one of the great prime rivalries in the whole history of the sport.
There is an expectation in boxing that even the most storied, the most ferocious, the most competitive of conflicts can be settled over the course of a trilogy.
Fire against fire, down the stretch.
But for Manny Pacquiao of the Philippines and Mexico's Juan Marquez, 36 rounds over the past 8 years have not been enough, regardless of what the scorecards have produced.
I'm calling it another draw. To the winner, Manny Pacquiao.
And regardless of how strongly each side has felt about the outcomes.
Bueno, yo estoy de acuerdo con todos los que dicen que ganamos las tres.
Of course, I believe that I won the fight.
This is the story of 3 bouts that have given way to a 4th. The tale of 2 fighters still searching to settle a rivalry steeped in history, controversy, and above all, inconclusiveness. This is 24/7, Pacquiao Marquez 4. It was a sunny morning in Beverly Hills in mid-September when 2 of boxing's greatest fighters reunited for a familiar obligatory prelude. Manny Pacquiao had arrived in California just the night before from the Philippines, while Juan Marquez was fresh off a plane from Mexico City.
I'd like to welcome everyone to the official press conference for Pacquiao Marquez 4.
People say, why again Pacquiao? And I said, because I want to prove who's better, and I want the referee to raise my hand.
I want to erase the doubt of the fans.
Their previous 3 bouts have ended in a draw and 2 disputed decisions in Pacquiao's favor. Uncertainty that has led each man to seek out the other for a 4th bout on December 8th in Las Vegas.
We're at the opening press conference at the Beverly Hills Hotel, and I'm sitting beside Manny, and he takes his thumbnail and he scratches into the tablecloth. We need to win by knockout. And I said, yes, we do. That is the best thing, that's the best news I've seen yet, because usually it's God will decide. It'll be a close fight. I'm not going to predict anything. And the thing is, who's going to give Manny Pacquiao the 4th fight if it's another close call? I don't think we'll win this fight unless we knock him out.
Their narrative has been driven, above all, by the conflicting opinions of millions of observers, all part of a saga that began nearly a decade ago at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas. Manny Pacquiao was 25 years old, a rising ring star from the Pacific Rim, squaring off against Marquez, who at 31 had separated himself from a pack of Mexican contenders. The featherweight bout figured to be an entertaining matchup, and for those ringside, the anticipation was tinged as much with intrigue as anything else.
We were all curious about Pacquiao, who was such a sensational type fighter, explosive, and how he would cope with an unusual fighter from Mexico in that Marquez was more of a boxer than a banger.
From the outset, the give and take had an aggressive feel.
Marquez comes out in a more offensive stance than he usually does.
But Marquez's trainer, Nacho Beristain, wasn't pleased with his fighter's early strategy.
Juan Manuel Márquez, muy desaprensivamente, con mucha confianza, empezó el round sin medir el peligro que representa la pegada del filipino.
And he fires the straight left hand, and there's the punch
hunting bout.
I thought the fight was over.
Entonces me voy yo a querer conectarlo a él y mandarlo a la lona yo a él para pues estuviera la pelea pareja. Me vuelvo a encontrar con su mano izquierda y me manda por segunda ocasión a la lona.
He's not moving his hand at all. He's just standing in one position. This is why we use the word sensation.
Yo estaba angustiado durante el round y muy enojado durante la segunda caída, porque me parece que no es justo que a un peleador de gran clase le pase lo que le estaba pasando a mi peleador.
I mean, I thought, you know, the fight's almost over. I said, you know, we're gonna finish this fight in one round.
But he's going straight back. Third knockdown of the first round. And he caught Marquez going down, and I'm not sure Juan Manuel will be able to get up.
I thought I got him in the first round. But I was surprised of his toughness.
Cortez is going to let the fight continue.
For a referee, what happened in the second round redefined a fighter. I think Marquez intuitively absorbed the reality that he had to make this stand. It would define him forever.
Marquez is feeling his way back into the fight.
Marquez fighting more of the kind of fight now we anticipated at the start.
With each round that passed, Marquez seemed to be getting stronger and stronger, climbing closer and closer back into the fight.
Hard right hand stuns Pacquiao. And it could be the comeback of a lifetime for Juan Manuel Marquez.
By the end of the 11th round, the bout appeared too close to call.
El último, Juan. Venga, Juan, con mucha fe.
This is your round, son. We need this round badly. Ready? All right? You gotta put him on his ass this round, you hear me?
Both fighters believe they can win this fight if they win this round.
Two real fighters from their guts. Both can box, both can punch, both have the hearts of champions.
Después de que me mandó 3 veces en la lona en el primer round, superamos todos los rounds siguientes. Si acaso perdimos 1 o 2 después de ese primer round, que fue difícil. Esperamos una decisión cerrada, pero una decisión a mi favor.
We go to the scorecards. 115 to 110 for Pacquiao. 115 to 110 for Marquez. 113, a three-way split. The bout is a draw.
Of course, I believe that I won the fight.
3 caídas, yo creo que no pueden determinar la victoria para uno o para otro, porque fueron 12 rounds y en la mayoría de los rounds dominó mi peleador.
But in a controversial twist, when the scorecards were released, it was revealed all 3 judges did not score the first round for Pacquiao 10-6. One mistakenly scored it 10-7, accounting for only 2 of the 3 knockdowns. And that single point should have given Pacquiao a split decision victory.
So I filed a protest because he made a mistake. I said, why do you have a judge at ringside that doesn't know the rules? I said, we would have won the fight if he had scored it the way it was supposed to be scored. And the Nevada Commission said, well, it's like an umpire missing a call at home plate. I said, bull. I said, come on, I've seen you guys change decisions before. But, you know, I wasn't going to argue too hard, though, because it was a great fight. I think it was great for the sport of boxing.
And adding to the mystique of the rivalry that's developed since, it's worth remembering that it all almost didn't happen. The second stop on the press tour for Pacquiao Marquez 4 was New York City on September 19th. And as the teams ready to reunite in front of the cameras once again, the aura was recognizable.
We have 24/7 this time again, and I said, well, what are we gonna do? You know, so Manny's gonna talk about God, and I'm gonna talk about winning the fight, and Nacho's gonna say he's better than me, and so we've seen it before. We need a new twist. I'm not sure what we're gonna do yet.
It's really a pleasure to be here in my home city, New York, for this press conference.
December 8th will be the 4th time the superstar fighters meet, but also the 4th time two of the sport's greatest trainers match up in their corners.
There's actually two rivalries because me and Nacho, it's competitive. I mean, I want to beat him badly and he wants to beat me badly, I'm sure. So there's actually two rivalries going on right now.
Es una pesadilla tenerlo en la otra esquina como rival. Yo le reconozco que es uno de los mejores del mundo y estoy muy orgulloso de haberle ganado, porque creo que le hemos ganado las peleas.
It's a rivalry that's intensified with each successive meeting, even if they haven't taken place in rapid succession. It took 4 years to put a rematch together, but finally, Pacquiao Marquez 2 was set for the Mandalay Bay in Las Vegas.
Is it round 13 of the first fight, or is it a different fight because Manny Pacquiao has progressed so much as a boxer and has so developed his right hand in the 4 years since the first fight?
But when the bell rang, it was Marquez who dictated the early flow.
Good body shot by Marquez. Uppercut by Marquez, huge left hook, buckled Pacquiao.
By the 3rd round, though, Pacquiao was finding his range, and a familiar brand of action was intensifying.
This is a late round rally for Pacquiao.
But this can change back and forth from this right here.
Down goes Marquez on a straight left-hand shot. Perfect shot by Pacquiao.
I thought it's over, but he just got lucky because we got saved by the bell.
See there, this fight can go like this all night.
Marquez almost went down a second time, and he almost went to the wrong corner as well.
But as in their first fight, Marquez recovered. And from there, the bout tightened, with nearly every round evenly matched, and almost too close to call.
Pacquiao trying to search and destroy. Marquez trying to shock him with counter-punching aggression.
One example was round 6, which 2 of the 3 judges scored for Pacquiao.
En ese round prácticamente soy el que conecto más golpes y los jueces se lo dan a Pacquiao. O sea que ahí como que no concordaba la situación.
Well, Freddie Roach said, I want you to get busy. That's really what Manny needs to do, is to go in and throw punches and bunches.
Very scientific round, very, a real good boxing match right there. That round was like what boxing's all about. Like the counter puncher, the aggressive guy, both guys landing good shots. But I think we lost that round, yeah. So I'm an honest person, I mean. All right, Manny, you're letting this get away from you. You're standing right in front of this guy, letting him get off his combination.
In the 8th round, Pacquiao had a new problem, a bad cut to his right eye.
An amazingly even fight, and the straight right hand by Marquez hurt Pacquiao. He hurt him with that punch, he cut him, and there's blood on his eye.
But just 1 round later, the Filipino returned the favor.
La cortada que teníamos en el 9º round era una cortada muy grande, una cortada pues, prácticamente del tamaño de la ceja. Y de algún momento pensamos de que el referee pudo haber detenido la pelea, la pudo haber parado.
Like their first bout, though, this one would go the distance, and the final bell would again approach with both fighters leaving absolutely nothing behind.
One more right hand for Marquez. One more combination for Pacquiao. They trade shots down the stretch.
Hell of a fight. I'm calling it another draw.
I thought both fighters deserved to win. Neither one deserved to lose. That's a draw for me.
On this night, however, a draw wasn't in the cards.
We go to the scorecards. 115-112, Marquez. 115-112, Pacquiao. 114-113 to the winner on split decision. And new champion from the Philippines, Manny
Pero bueno, yo creo que en lo personal siento que Pacquiao ve que no gana la pelea y cuando la decisión es una sorpresa para él.
Muchos filipinos nos dijeron, él ganó. Nos quedamos otra vez con la amargura de ver que no hay mucha justicia que digamos de parte de los oficiales.
Yeah, you know, I was happy. I thought Manny won the fight. Again, I thought the knockdown was the difference. They cried a little bit. I wouldn't have cried if we had lost, though, because it was that close. I mean, but again, it was another good fight for boxing, I thought, and it was two great technicians doing what they do best.
The September press tour for Pacquiao Marquez 4 finished off in Juan Manuel Marquez's hometown, Mexico City. Both fighters arrived in style for the marquee event, a gathering at the city arena. Inside, there was the feel of a celebration, with fans eager to glimpse the two legends up close.
Viva Mexico!
¡Viva México, por supuesto!
Viva Juan Manuel Marquez!
¡Viva Marquez!
And viva Congressman Manny Pacquiao!
The reception for Pacquiao, of course, was no surprise, given how progressively frustrating the three bouts have been for the Mexican fans. The third of those bouts took nearly another 4 years to come to fruition, and when it did last November, it would be held again at the MGM Grand. Over the course of the 8 years since the first bout, the two sides have become well acquainted. Perhaps too acquainted, in fact, for Freddie Roach.
I did have something happen to me that never happened to me before in boxing. The opposing trainer came over to my dressing room and gave me 7 items that he wanted Manny Pacquiao to autograph for him.
He's going to ask Pacquiao to sign the gloves.
Oh, of course. And I said, "You gotta be kidding me," in my mind. And I said, "Is this like part of his game plan? Like, is he trying to just with me?" Okay. No problem. Gracias.
Thank you.
Okay.
If Beristain was resorting to gamesmanship, it may have been because Marquez was a 9-1 underdog, counted out because his opponent had become a pound-for-pound superstar since their last meeting, defeating Oscar De La Hoya and Miguel Cotto, among a string of other larger fighters. But those surrounding Pacquiao knew better than to look past the Mexican, well aware that their fighter was not at his best, following a training camp full of personal distractions.
Manny was clearly not focused, had marital problems, he wasn't getting enough rest. I knew we wouldn't see a vintage Manny Pacquiao in that fight, and we certainly didn't.
Marquez getting ready to take a couple more risks, or so it would appear. The pattern begins to emerge again.
Still, in the first half of the fight, that pattern would yield no high drama in the ring.
Pacquiao making Marquez miss, but not firing back.
Eventually, though, caution yielded to a familiar tempo.
Now we're seeing the kind of action we saw in the first 2 fights. I hit you, you come and try to hit me back.
As the fight continued, however, things began to turn, at least in the eyes of one of the bout's judges, Robert Hoyle.
The clearer and more distinct scoring punches came from Marquez in that second part of the fight. Marquez was coming on a little bit stronger, but he was very effective backing up.
Hard right hand by Marquez, and he is loosening up and gathering confidence.
He found his niche. He found a way to be able to get through that aggression that Pacquiao was putting on him to allow him to be effective.
Hoyle would score 4 of the last 6 rounds for Marquez, on par with many ringside observers. But in a dose of the controversy that's come to mark the rivalry, the other 2 judges saw it the opposite way awarding 4 of the final 6 rounds to Pacquiao.
Explota, Juan. Combinaciones rápidas, velocidad. La velocidad que agarraste. La pelea es tuya, a menos de que estos bandidos te vuelvan a robar. Put this guy on his ass for me, okay? For sure.
The 12th round of both prior fights had been memorably action-packed. But on this night, in a questionable interpretation of Berestein's instructions, Marquez pulled back.
Marquez is very conservative here in the final round of a close fight. Obviously, he believes what Berestein has told him.
La gente que piensa que yo lo mandé a buscar la manera de sobrevivir el último round sin peligro, están equivocados. Solamente que los jueces te roben la pelea, es imposible que puedas perder.
Sentíamos que ganamos la pelea y se arriesgó un poco en el 12º round. Pues no creo que haya afectado ese round para posiblemente dar la decisión que los jueces dieron.
This was a tremendous tactical error, I think, by Juan Marquez.
The final round would indeed go to Pacquiao on 2 of the 3 judges' cards, including Robert Hoyles.
After 12 World Championship rounds, Robert Hoyle scores the bout 114 even.
When they read my score, I tell you, I was extremely nervous. And I tell you, after I sat back and I just relaxed, I really feel like I called the fight exactly how it was. It was an even fight.
Dave Moretti scores it 115, 113. Glenn Trowbridge, 116 to 112 to the winner by majority decision, and still WBO welterweight champion of the world, Manny Pacquiao.
Once again, the scorecards had become a huge part of the story of a Pacquiao-Marquez bout, particularly the cards of the 2 judges who scored it for Pacquiao.
Si en la primera me enojé, en la segunda me enojé, en esta tercera fue aún más mi coraje. Yo me salí muy enojado de no querer dar ninguna entrevista porque salí molesto de lo que los jueces habían dado.
My performance is not really the best that I want. But when I heard that the bell ring, I believe that I won the fight.
Yo creo que el resultado de la tercera pelea fue vergonzoso. Para la historia del boxeo sigue siendo vergonzoso.
I thought we won the 3rd fight, but I thought it was the closest. And to be quite honest with you, I wanted to close the book on this. I said I never want to see them fight again. So, and then here we are.
A press tour for a fight offers only symbolic renderings of an impending collision. But as Manny Pacquiao and Juan Marquez stood side by side in Mexico City one last time before fight week, the symbolism resonated deeply to all who knew the story of their conflict.
Are not like you and I. They have some deep reservoir of will to succeed, to perform, to rise to the highest level, and to beat the guy in front of them. And these 2 fighters have proven that that's who they are.
Pacquiao was departing quickly to the Philippines, where there was business to tend to for his other job as a congressman, before returning to Los Angeles for training camp closer to the bout. Marquez had a much shorter trip home. And as usual, his plans called for him to remain in Mexico City for his fight preparation, close to his family and the public that reveres him as a national icon. 3 bouts, 36 rounds, 108 minutes of fighting had left these 2 men very much still in dispute, and in accord on just one matter. Another meeting in the ring was required to settle the tale of Pacquiao and Marquez. A 4th collision was the only solution that remained. Stay tuned for part 2 of 24/7 Pacquiao Marquez 4. Every life story is composed of any number of essential ingredients. Who you become is intrinsically tied to what you're made of, even if the elemental pieces don't always resemble the final product that emerges. Early every morning in the Fortune Village district of General Santos City in the Philippines, the workers of the Esma Bake Shop make batches of sugar donuts. Some are sold at the shop, but others are purchased by enterprising young men hoping to turn the treats into a small profit. They sit as the cars pass by and hope their trays get emptied by hungry passers-by, hope their futures bring something very different. After all, if the great Manny Pacquiao once sold donuts on the side of a road, what might be in store for them?
Lord, kami nag-aampo Ginoo. Kay Sir Manny ug ka Ma'am Chinky, Lord.
It's a Tuesday morning at Manny Pacquiao's compound in General Santos City. A little more than 10 weeks remain before his December 8th bout with Juan Marquez. But Pacquiao's attention is focused on his other line of work. Today, he will file for re-election to the Philippine Congress, where he represents the Sarangani province. First, though, he and his wife are receiving a blessing from their local priest.
In prayer, from the north to the south, from the east to the west, the angels of God will come around, surround about Sir Manny and Ma'am Chinky, Lord. Believing, and he shall receive. Salamat Ginoo, among gituuhan nga dunay kadaogan. Sa ngalan ni Kristo Jesus, salamat sa kadaogan. Amen.
Amen. Let's give it a mighty hand of praise. Hallelujah. Thank you. Let's celebrate. Jesus.
Tabi na lang si Sir tsaka si
Dito.
Dito,
Vice.
2 years ago, Pacquiao was elected to his first term in Congress in a landslide. His impending race should prove even easier.
I'm elected again because I don't have an opponent. So I'm still a congressman. And I always believe that I can implement more projects in Sarangani in this second term. I know what the feelings of being poor, being nothing. I'm like them before, but now I'm helping them.
While his submission of re-election papers might appear to be a formality, there is an added wrinkle to the family agenda today at legislative headquarters. The People's Champ Movement ticket has a new member, Jinky Pacquiao, who has announced her candidacy for the province's vice governorship. It is her first entree into politics, but she's unflustered by what awaits.
I will accept the fact that I am here and that I'm ready. There's a little bit pressure because they always ask me what will be your program. So I'll just tell them our goal is to help. That's it. Because we came from the poor family, so I know the heart being poor. You're here to serve and not to be served, for the people, just for the people.
Madam Jinky, kung sakasakaling manalo, anong una niyong planong ipatupad sa pagiging vice governor?
Depende kung ano yung mga...
Aalamin ko kung ano yung dapat na pwede kong itulong sa...
I believe that my wife and me, we can do a lot in Sarangani province. What our focus is just to serve honestly and to change the image of politics here in the Philippines.
Jinky Pacquiao for Vice Governor in Sarangani Province.
Correct.
Headline.
Tomorrow.
Headline bukas. Ngayon ang broadcast.
estar terminando adolorido, pero siempre con una mentalidad de llegar muy bien a las peleas.
Closely observing the transformation in progress are the boxer's sons, 14-year-old Aldo Manuel and 7-year-old Juan Emilio, each of whom explore the floor and heed any advice their dad gives them.
Mira, ven aquí. Mejor también las abdominales te van a quedar altas. ¿Eh? A ver, una y una. Aquí agarra la del medio. El medio. Eso. Y juégale en el piso y otra vez si quieres la vuelves a hacer. ¿Eh?
For the elder Marquez, the early morning plan is highlighted by a circuit workout, focusing on speed and agility. At 39, a fighter normally isn't still boxing at a high level. But Marquez has defied the clock and relished the chance to do so.
Sabemos que las peleas son difíciles, es por eso que me levanto con mucho ánimo, me levanto con muchas ganas y que no me siento de 39, me siento de 25. Entonces, eso me motiva más seguir continuando y seguir peleando.
He wouldn't deny that the notion of retirement has occasionally crossed his mind. But for now, the opportunity to claim the victory that has most excruciatingly eluded him is ample motivation to continue.
Yo me voy a dar cuenta el tiempo y la hora de retirarme es cuando ya no me sienta igual, cuando ya no tenga las mismas ganas de levantarme a correr, que el cuerpo no me responda de la manera que me responde ahorita. Ese es el momento indicado y en el momento que me tengo que retirar. El brazo, no, rey. Like his father. ¿Eh?
He spends the morning recovering and then joins his sons, his wife Erica, and their youngest child, 5-year-old Allison Natalia, at a kid's birthday party for a family friend.
Vayan a lastimar. ¿Ya se van a salir? ¿Ya se van a salir? Parece que traen las Duracell, las pilas Duracell. Todo el día están así. Más ejercicio para mí. Es otro entrenamiento más.
He will be fighting to finally topple his greatest nemesis. The result will be added to his record. The work to get there will be inspired by those closest to him.
Si él sube al ring, si él va a trabajar, si él se levanta a las 4 de la mañana para irse a correr, y él lo dice siempre, no todo lo que hace lo hace por sus hijos.
Se siente muy padre tener un papá como él, un papá campeón, y pues me siento muy orgulloso de él por ver todo lo que hace, cómo le pone empeño a su entrenamiento.
Y es mutuo, ellos me apoyan y yo ese apoyo que me dan lo hago con mucho cariño, lo hago con mucho amor. Yo amo este deporte y teniendo el soporte de mi familia es como el plus que me dan para poder continuar y llegar bien a una pelea.
In General Santos, mornings at the Central Market begin early. For generations, the port city has been best known for its fishing industry, hence the moniker, the tuna capital of the Philippines. But as shoppers flood the market today, the headlines serve as a reminder that to the rest of the world at present, the city is more closely associated with a fighter and his family. The Pacquiaos begin their mornings together across town at a local sports complex. A punishing training camp is scheduled to begin soon in Los Angeles. But for now, the boxer prefers a very different regimen, with a light 3-mile jog just the start of a varied menu of physical pursuits. Next comes a volleyball match. Then, a game of badminton against his wife. And the main event is 2 hours of pickup basketball on a weathered court. where the defense tends to part when the people's champ makes his way through the lane. The fighter says the mixture keeps him fresh and fit and will help prevent burnout when camp begins in earnest for the December 8 bout.
I love to play other sports other than boxing when I'm not in training, so it's kind of different. Like food, if you eat the same menu over and over every day, then you need to find some other menu to eat every day.
Even casual training sessions like this bring modest crowds to the complex to catch a glimpse of the fighter. He is, as much as ever, the people's champion, a fact unaffected by what happened in his last trip to the ring earlier this year. It was a hot June night in Las Vegas, and Pacquiao was a more than 4-1 favorite against undefeated American Timothy Bradley, with the Filipino looking to silence critics who were saying his skills had slipped following recent lackluster performances against Marquez and Shane Mosley. From the outset, Pacquiao looked sharp.
And the left hand moves Bradley halfway across the ring. These power shots are taking their toll.
I thought Manny fought a very smart fight. He boxed well. I thought I saw some improvements there from the last fight with Marquez.
So far, you see a good fighter against a great fighter, and that's been the difference.
Not even close. I mean, I was thinking that it's a one-sided fight.
Maybe one of the judges could have found a round here or there to give to Bradley, but so far it's been pretty close to a shutout for Manny Pacquiao, or so it appears to us.
The lone complaint from Pacquiao's corner would come over his decision to cruise rather than accelerate towards the finish.
He definitely took his foot off the gas. He could have went for the kill and went in there and knocked him out, and he chose just to beat him in decision.
Well, I guess Bradley's cornermen feel as though they might not be at this level again, so they want to pick their fighter up and carry him around.
To seemingly everyone except Bradley and his corner, a one-sided verdict appeared all but a formality. But then came the announcement of the judge's decision.
115-113 for Pacquiao.
I was shocked at the first one they gave us the fight by. It was so close. I said, "Are you kidding me?" I says, "It was that close?" And then the next two come, and just amazing.
115-113 for Bradley. 115-113 to the winner by split decision, and new WBO welterweight champion of the world, Timothy
Timothy Bradley has scored an upset split decision victory over Manny Pacquiao. God only knows how.
I said, am I in boxing? Am I in what sport is this? Because I've been in boxing 21 years, and this is my first time to encounter that on that one-sided fight, and my opponent won the fight.
In the dressing room afterwards, fighter and trainer could only chortle through their bewilderment.
But you know what? You fought one of the best fights I ever saw you fight.
No, it's a good fight, huh?
You fought a very good fight.
Inside.
I told you you gave the 11th round away. I told you to pick it up.
Yeah, I give the 11 rounds.
Yeah, and then so but he fought smart angles.
Some round I give him to him.
But you know what? He didn't want to fight you after a while. I mean, he told me he would run.
And timing it. Boom! To get what's he's turning.
He didn't want to exchange.
What I told you.
Yeah, you told me.
Before.
I know.
I always told you, he's gonna run.
Yeah, you told me that.
He's gonna run, huh?
I said no.
Right. He's gonna run.
Yeah, 100%. I know who to listen to next time.
In the days and weeks that followed, conspiracy theories abounded about how the judges had arrived at their decision, with calls for investigations made from any number of quarters. Nowhere was the result more controversial than in the Philippines, where even the fighter's mother, Dionysia, who'd reportedly fainted when the decision was read, weighed in on television.
Gusto ko, rematch. Bahala, huminto ka na sa pagboksing. Ako ng nanay nag-decide, rematch kayo na.
Punta ako, sama ako sa Las Vegas. Sama ako sa laban yun, rematch. Ang daming nagalit dito sa Pilipinas eh. Lalo na sa Mindanao, galit, nagawayan ng mga tao. Galit sila, kay ikaw ang panalo, bakit silang natalo? Nako, siniswerte talaga sila.
Huminahon ka, mag-uusap tayo dyan pagbalik ko.
At first, a rematch seemed the only next step. But as serious discussions began for Pacquiao's next fight, the boxer saw a different familiar foe as an even more satisfying fit.
What I need to prove to Bradley, and I don't think that people will interested the fight. That's why I decide to choose fight again with Marquez for the fourth time to answer all the doubts in the minds of the fans, especially my opponent.
Carlos.
¿Qué pasó, champ?
Nada, habla.
¿Me escuchas? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Ahí estás, gracias.
It is just a second job, but Juan Manuel Marquez very much looks the part at the ESPN Deportes studios on the outskirts of Mexico City. He's an analyst on the boxing show Golpe a Golpe, Blow by Blow, a role he says he's grown into.
Después de 19 años de estar día con día en las cámaras, en entrevistas y todo, pues ya me siento como de casa, me siento sin ningún problema, es como si no estuvieran para mí. Pero de repente sí te pone nervioso, pero ya sabemos controlar esos nervios.
Así que yo te pregunto directamente, Juan Manuel, ¿Brandon Ríos o Mike Alvarado?
Pelea difícil, pero yo creo que Brandon Ríos se lleva el triunfo. ¿Por qué? Por la condición, el aguante que tienes. Yo creo que tiene un poquito más de técnica, entonces yo me voy con Brandon Ríos.
When the day comes to call an end to his ring career, the decision will be difficult. But the transition will be eased by the knowledge he can stay in the sport another way.
Me encantaría tener una carrera después de retirarme del boxeo. Yo creo que hablar del deporte que amo, del deporte que me ha dado todo en mi vida, para mí es un gran orgullo.
Te llegamos al final de Golpe a Golpe. Simplemente agradecer al campeón Juan Manuel Márquez. Gracias, Juan.
Gracias, y gracias a ustedes que nos siguen por su televisora.
Esto fue Golpe a Golpe.
From the studio, it's a short detour to pick up his family before heading down Insurgentes, the city's main artery, in a modified Chevy Suburban equipped with police lights for extra security.
Ese de la camioneta, oríllese a su derecha.
The family will soon be moving into this house, with renovations still being finalized following their recent purchase.
Se están en su casa. ¿De quién es este cuarto? ¿Y qué vas a poner ahí arriba?
Muñecas.
Tus muñecas, ¿y qué más?
Last year, Marquez's current home was burglarized, leading the fighter to search for a more secure compound, which he found here, in one of the city's most exclusive enclaves.
Para nosotros es mejor la tranquilidad, la seguridad más que nada aquí en nuestro país, y para nuestra familia es importante, entonces es por eso que buscamos comodidad y más que nada seguridad.
Eso. Bien, buen pase.
For years, he boxed only for modest purses. Now, at the end of his career, the money has grown. His working-class roots are merely a memory. And knowing his children are taken care of is one of his greatest comforts.
Yo crecí con muchas carencias económicas, con muchas carencias pues que muchos sí tienen. Y ahora poderles dar a mis hijos lo que no tuve yo de chico, para mí es una gran alegría, una gran satisfacción. Poderles transmitir una motivación para ellos en lo que hacen. Ser ejemplos también para la juventud más adelante.
Check, check, check. 1, 2, check. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, check.
Back in the Philippines at the Dusit Thani Hotel in Manila, preparations are underway for a special event in the ballroom.
Okay, wala na, ilalabas nila lahat kung ano nang hindi kailangan ko.
Manny Pacquiao has flown into town with wife Jinky for the night to celebrate the 6th birthday of their oldest daughter, Princess.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday to you.
The celebration is geared towards the kids, but the proud papa is always willing to show off he's familiar with what's all the rage.
This is a request song. Daddy Manny. Music, please! Hey!
It's really important to have time in my children, my kids, my family, to play with the kids, because 5 years from now, 10 years from now, I cannot play like that anymore.
The portrait of family harmony they offer is notable, considering before Manny's third fight with Marquez, the Pacquiaos were struggling with marital problems. But Jinky is delighted with the progress they've made since.
I told Manny that I am super happy because before he didn't used to join like that, dancing like that, and then he just stay for at least 1 hour and then go away because he has so many appointments. But now he is a different man. I already forgive him and I already forget the past.
Pacquiao's devotion to his family and his political obligations appear to have already impacted his preparations for this bout, as he's decided to push back his move to Los Angeles for training camp by 2 weeks. He will continue to work at home, cherishing the gifts life has brought him, remaining mindful of the origins he long ago left behind.
I'm so blessed, I'm really thankful to God that He gave me this talent, and my children can benefit this, but I always teach them where their mom and dad came from, and we tell them how hard our life before.
Thank you to my mommy and daddy for giving me a nice birthday. I love it.
Change with time. New priorities, new passions, and new convictions emerge. Balance takes precedence. Long planned or hastily rescheduled, Juan Manuel Marquez and Manny Pacquiao each began their training camps for their 4th bout at home. But it was time to revive their hunger, resurrect their desire, reawaken their instinct. It was time to focus on December 8th and begin forgetting that anything had changed at all from the very first moment they entered the ring. Stay tuned for part 3 of 24/7 Pacquiao Marquez 4. Previously on 24/7, Manny Pacquiao and Juan Manuel Marquez embarked on a cross-continental press tour to promote their 4th fight. reviving the debate surrounding the controversial results of their 3 previous bouts.
Fire against fire, down the stretch.
A draw and 2 disputed decisions in Pacquiao's favor.
Bueno, yo estoy de acuerdo con todos los que dicen que ganamos las 3.
Of course, I believe that I won the fight.
Following their promotional obligations, the boxers returned home and reunited with their families. But soon it was time to start training camp. For Marquez at his gym nearby in Mexico City. And for his opponent in the Philippines, where he'd worked for several weeks before returning to Los Angeles, with Pacquiao Marquez 4 looming ever closer. The star attraction at Hollywood's Wild Card Gym is back in town.
All right, listen up, everybody. Today's a sparring day, so we're gonna clear the gym out. Everybody gotta be outside the building by 12:45. Thank you.
LA is where Manny Pacquiao always trains in the US, even if he delayed the start of this camp with Freddie Roach by 2 weeks.
I talked to him on the phone, and he told me he wanted to train in General Santos. So he had to take care of some government stuff, and it was no time. He got here 6 weeks before, so I had no problem with it. He came in shape like he said he was going to come, and I was happy about that.
Training camp is doing good, so far so good, and hard work. What we're doing every day is more intense than compared to the last few fights.
Those last few fights against Marquez and Timothy Bradley have been far from his most memorable, which has led his trainer to experiment with new forms of incentive.
The thing is, I've always given the sparring partners a bonus of $1,000 if they knock Manny down, because I want them working at their best. So this time I told Manny, I'll give you $1,000 if you knock them down. I have to bring back that Manny Pacquiao with a killer instinct. I want him to, these guys are going after him full force, and I want him to respond in full force. Come on, let's go, make him work, let's go.
Nice move. Good. Alis kagad.
Sparring us so good, and we keep busy. We keep busy all the time. My focus is to more aggressiveness, throw a lot of combination, and if I get a chance to finish the fight, why not? I will grab that opportunity.
Aggressiveness served him well against Marquez in their first 2 fights, in the form of 4 knockdowns. Today, he drops a sparring partner for the first time in camp.
Right, now you're starting to throw your punches like Manny Pacquiao. Power shots, very good, okay?
I could tell that he's more aggressive for this fight. He's really hungry. He wants to go in there and prove everyone that he's victorious. He's a winner.
1 moment of silence, please.
Following the pause for prayer, Roach tries to make good on his promise of a reward for the knockdown.
I want another one, okay? I told you, a deal's a deal. Okay.
Sorry.
I
can't accept that.
But
It's my job.
But if you're knocking no more guys down, okay? So the guy named Marquez, okay? All right? Thank you. He doesn't gamble anymore. I'm happy.
The new Manny Pacquiao doesn't gamble, doesn't drink, doesn't engage in any of the vices that once composed a significant part of his repertoire. Like any man, the boxer has evolved with time. Like any good trainer, Freddie Roach has adapted.
Pretty much trainer Manny Pacquiao is a little bit different now. I don't get to tell him what to do anymore. He tells me what to do, pretty much, because, but he's the one fighting the fight. He knows what he feels will work and what won't work, and if he feels that it won't work, it won't. So I don't try to change his mind at this point. I miss those days that when I was.
20 years in the Iztacalco neighborhood of Mexico City, upstairs from a taco shop, the Romanza boxing gym has accommodated hundreds of fighters. The wear and tear makes repairs occasionally necessary, and today, the gym staff works intently to fix a broken speed bag mount before the champion-in-residence begins his workout. Juan Manuel Marquez has been immersed in heavy training here since mid-October. Now, less than 2 weeks away from fight night, the boxer says preparations to take on Manny Pacquiao for a fourth time have in fact been ongoing since the pair's last meeting.
Estamos trabajando lo que hice hace un año, la pelea pasada contra el filipino. Estamos trabajando mucho fuerza, mucha velocidad, mucho cambios de ritmo. Estamos trabajando muchas situaciones en el aspecto físico que yo creo que van a ser muy importantes para la pelea. Es lo que hemos hecho.
Tirado pero con la derecha, gancho y derecha recta. Pero parejitos, hombros, Juan, principalmente el gancho.
It is the 62nd time trainer Nacho Beristain will be in Marquez's corner for a fight. He remains focused on the work still to be done.
En el pico del entrenamiento y el enfoque llegar lo más preciso y más veloz. Como la vez pasada, estaba muy nervioso porque no rompía con la explosión de velocidad que se requería. Pero faltando 2 días se apareció la velocidad y ya me quedé más tranquilo. Ahora espero que antes de partir a Las Vegas llevemos todo ya normal.
Even at the age of 39, Marquez says his commitment to preparation is more complete than ever.
El entrenamiento siempre es fuerte y algo que me consume, algo que estoy prácticamente imaginando como si estuviera peleando ya contra Pacquiao. Me visualizo a Manny Pacquiao y me visualizo yo arriba del ring y cuál más o menos puede ser la táctica o cuál más o menos puede ser el trabajo que tenemos que hacer arriba del mismo.
The fighter and his camp are no stranger to cameras in the Romanza. But for this bout, there's been a change in policy. When it's time to spar, total access is revoked.
Fueron unas grabaciones que subieron a internet, a Facebook. Pues no nos conviene que se den cuenta de la estrategia que vamos a tomar para esta pelea. En el caso de Pacquiao, de Freddie Roach, pues ahí puede darse cuenta de los errores que puede tener y por dónde llegarle a Juan.
Afterwards, Marquez finishes off the workout by testing out the newly reconstructed speed bag. More screws appear to be needed.
Juan Manuel le encanta que le pongamos gas, le fascina, porque sabe que con eso va más fuerte todo su cuerpo. Vigoriza la energía. Ahí se está regenerando todo.
Now, the last time you were here, you you announced that you had quit drinking, you quit gambling, and you quit cockfighting. And then, for the first time in 7 years, you did not win the fight. You lost the fight. Well, I don't think you actually lost the fight, but technically they said you lost the fight. Will you go back to drinking, gambling, and cockfighting?
No. Jamie is a funny guy, and just the way to speak, and you will laugh.
And on this night, the host has a surprise presentation for the viewing audience.
Originally, you were not supposed to fight Marquez. You were supposed to fight another prominent fighter. I believe we have video from the great HBO documentary series 24/7. Let's take a look.
5 years ago, two men set out to seek power. The kind of power that begets wealth, influence, and in its strongest forms, immortality. 4 times, Manny Pacquiao has been scheduled to fight Guillermo Rodriguez, but because of unforeseen occurrences, their first bout has still yet to take place.
I was supposed to fight him 3 times, but he keeps avoiding me. He said he didn't get invitation for the last fight. Come on, this is not a birthday party to get invitation. This is boxing. Can someone please explain it to me?
Is perverse imitation a form of flattery? Perhaps. In any event, the boxer looks strong going the distance with his participation.
And now it's time for the challenger, who's going to be challenged to make 147 pounds. Guillermo up on the scale, he tips it. We're going to adjust a little bit, Guillermo. And at 247 pounds, even he's 100 pounds over the limit.
Yeah, I don't have to fight Manny Pacquiao. Maybe we'll play in March again. Woohoo!
And for Pacquiao, it's more heartbreak.
He did it to me again! No!
Following the show, the after party is held at Pacquiao's residence with a few of his closest friends. A darts tournament occupies one corner of the room, while others shadow the fighter at the chessboard.
Hindi, may turis eh. May turis. May turis pa siya tsaka isang pun.
It's a scene that's played out elsewhere before, the champ toying with an opponent. Though on this evening, the competition devolves into a mockery of the royal game. The crowd here enjoys Pacquiao victories of all sorts. They'll go to bed tonight hoping December 8th brings more domination. It's just past 4 a.m. in Mexico City when Juan Marquez begins his workday at the Olympic Training Center. Every maneuver is closely supervised. Every instruction comes with a purpose.
Ahí búscame velocidad pura. Pa, 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 sales. Pero pa, que sea chicotazo el brazo, que sea chicotazo.
The man in charge of the workout introduces himself as Angel Guillermo Heredia Hernandez. 11 days before the fight, he's not slackening the pace.
Okay, vamos a hacer el cinturón, güey. ¿Listo? ¡Vamos! It's going very good. Juan Manuel has gotten stronger, has gotten faster. Pacquiao is a tremendous fighter. He's a guy who's on top of you every second. So obviously, in order to fight speed, you gotta use his speed.
The pair joined forces a year ago when Marquez trained for his previous fight with Manny Pacquiao. The boxer's been thrilled with the results, particularly so late in his career.
Ha sido un cambio muy diferente que me siento renovado, que me siento cambiado, me siento capaz para llegar el 8 de diciembre a subirme al ring y otra vez a buscar el triunfo como dé lugar.
But the decision to bring in the strength and conditioning coach was also tinged with controversy. In the mid-1990s, the trainer, then known simply as Angel Heredia, became involved in a ring supplying performance-enhancing drugs to track athletes and advising them how to avoid detection. 12 of his clients, including Marion Jones and Tim Montgomery, won a total of 26 Olympic medals.
I was young, I was stupid, I was impulsive. And there's nothing can be changed on that.
When he was approached by federal investigators in 2005, Heredia turned state's evidence and became the star witness in a case against his former partner, track coach Trevor Graham. Heredia avoided prosecution.
Sé que Ángel tuvo problemas antes, pero eso no fue mi tiempo. Todos esos problemas que tuvo él, pues yo creo que le van a servir para que no vuelva a ser un error. El día que ustedes quieran hacer un examen, adelante, sin ningún problema. Yo me siento bien y sé que Ángel está haciendo su trabajo bien.
He said, you know, I trust you. And I mean, think about it. A guy who's been so bright as a star for 26 years, I show up, I'm not gonna jeopardize his career. And I'm not going back to the past. What I do now is I'm advocate to clean up the sport. Can I stop doping? No. Doping it's just like a snake. You cut the head, another head will grow up. Simple as that. I want you to take a note of this. Testing is always welcome.
The strength coach says he now assists testing authorities with PED detection. Meanwhile, in the pre-dawn chill out on the track, the focus for both men is on what will happen once the bell rings in Las Vegas.
¿Están listo? Listo. Bien, más que listo. Estamos listos ya para darle duro. Hasta la vista, baby.
The Hollywood gym, now world-renowned.
Hi, Fran. How are you?
Good, and you?
I'm good.
His mother, Barbara, has become part of the fabric here.
You know, I spent a lot of time in gyms when their father worked. After all those years, when I came back here, it's like home. It's like coming home. You know, the smells are familiar and the people are familiar. It's just a nice place to be. You know, so, yeah, it's a big part of my life. It's a big part of their life, a big part of our lives.
The walls of the gym are lined with commemoratives of a Hall of Fame career. But 2012 has been undeniably difficult, with not only Pacquiao's loss to Bradley in June, but also defeats of his other elite fighters, Amir Khan and Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., with Khan subsequently firing Roach from his corner.
It's been a tough year, yeah. The thing is, I'm wondering if I'm losing my touch. I had a run there for like 6 years, or at least 5 years, where I had only lost like 3 fights in the entire time. Now I've lost like 3 in a row. It's not easy. I sometimes can't sleep at night, and it bugs me and so forth. I know losing is part of life, but I hate to lose.
December 8th, then, offers the perfect remedy for the frustration that lingers. His best fighter in the ring, hungry to fell his longtime rival.
It's everything. It's just like, it will justify everything I do. You best know him from your last fight.
I need to do my best, and I mean, I need to work hard too, and I won't let him down.
If you fall into the pocket, it's safe, okay? remember, he's swinging out here, okay? If you touch him here and pull him in the pocket, and beat him up, okay? He deserves it.
He may have remarked a few days earlier that these training sessions have become about following his fighter's lead. But today, Roach's command of the agenda is apparent, and his veteran student falls in accordingly.
It's a tricky counterpuncher. I think one's gonna be enough. Relax here. It's like you're playing, okay? You're picking, just be relaxed. I said to myself after I said that, I said, you know what? I gotta get back to telling him what to do. I like being the boss.
A boxing trainer's life requires a firm tolerance for routine. After so many years, Nacho Beristain can hardly live without it. He returns every afternoon from the gym no later than 4 o'clock, and immediately makes the same quiet mental escape, with a dose of auditory assistance.
Creo que tengo todo el derecho del mundo de ir a descansar. Voy a casa y leo. No hago siesta porque no me da tiempo. Pues siempre tengo algo que hacer. Si oigo música clásica no me duermo, me tranquiliza más.
But after an hour or so, he is ready to tend to the work he's brought home with him. A cigar used to be a vital accessory to these sessions. But following a recent health scare, smoking has been supplanted by a breathing apparatus.
Pues fue algo inusitado para mí porque tengo prohibido enfermarme y tengo que estar siempre bien para todas las peleas. Y me ocasionó este percance que me tuvo, según el doctor, al borde de la muerte. Tenía confianza que me iba a recuperar. No sabía qué tenía, ¿no?
The diagnosis was in fact pneumonia, which the trainer believes he contracted on a plane.
Era peligroso, pero siempre he tenido confianza de que soy fuerte, de que todo el tiempo estoy haciendo ejercicio. Pusieron muchos antibióticos y estuve en el hospital 5 días, pero estoy bien.
He turned 73 this past July, but at an age when many men might slow down, he thrives on the invigoration the corner gives him. It's there he sees what others can't. It's there he watches over the boy he turned into a champion.
Juan está conmigo desde que tenía 12 años. El día que decida retirarse me va a dar mucho gusto. Es un muchacho con un sentido muy especial de su trabajo, del boxeo, que respeta mucho lo que hace. Y un gran ser humano, es un muchacho que es un gran ser humano.
But even as Marquez may be nearing the end of his days in the ring, he recognizes his trainer will stay right where he is.
Nacho ya necesita del box. Nacho ya no puede vivir sin el box. Es su pasión. Yo creo que sin el box, no sé qué sería de Nacho Beristain, se acabaría totalmente.
Me parieron para el boxeo. No puedo recordar nada que haya hecho fuera del boxeo. Porque he tenido 25 campeones del mundo. Pensé en un tiempo que si llegaba a tener 25 retirarme, pero ya me rajé, ya quiero seguir. Ojalá que pueda llegar a 30 antes de abandonar este mundo.
It's at the heart of what's driven all of them here. Whether it's another win, another chapter, another challenge, inevitably, they seek the unquenchable. What they have is significant, but what they don't is what truly matters. That's why a fourth fight makes sense to them. That's why another chance drives them forward.
Quick, come on.
Ahora buscamos hacer una pelea perfecta como la pelea pasada y más contundente. Tratar de hacer el más daño posible.
My hopes are to have a great celebration afterwards, finally shutting these guys up, shutting Nacho up and Marquez up, and knocking them out. And I think Manny can do that. He's put him down 4 times, and I think he can keep him down this time.
I want impressive win for this fight. I just want to prove, though, that the people who have doubt in the last 3 fights.
Nosotros como profesionales nos respetamos, pero a final de cuentas, después como que se vuelve personal, con más enjundia, con más coraje, y esta cuarta pelea va a ser de esa manera.
Pacquiao Marquez 4 is 1 week away. Previously on 24/7. In Los Angeles, Manny Pacquiao knocked down a sparring partner for the first time in camp. While in Mexico City, Juan Marquez ratcheted up the intensity of his preparations. Their 3 previous bouts had yielded only inconclusiveness.
They trade shots down the stretch.
But the hope of a decisive victory inspired both fighters, as well as the men who trained them, to believe their 4th meeting will be different.
Ahora buscamos hacer una pelea perfecta como la pelea pasada y más contundente. Tratar de hacer el más daño posible.
My hopes are to finally shut Nacho up and Marquez up and knocking them out. And I think Manny can do that. He's put him down 4 times, and I think he can keep him down this time.
Self-reflection is a part of the holiday season, a time perhaps to ponder who you are, where you've been, and where you're going. For Manny Pacquiao, less than 1 week before his 4th bout with Juan Marquez, the times for such contemplation are on mornings like this. On quiet roads, in the crisp California air, his mind goes to places no one else can access. Only he knows what he brings back. Back at the gym on Vine Street, afternoons are hardly as placid. Every move the fighter makes is closely monitored, and today, the cameras have multiplied.
Hello everyone and welcome inside the Wild Card Boxing Club in Hollywood, California.
A live production is underway at the gym as the afternoon workout is being streamed across the world, including the heart of New York's Times Square. Pacquiao barely seems to notice the chaos around him. By this point, he's well used to surprises at the wild card, often in the form of onlookers who want a peek at the champ at work.
Very difficult to keep everybody out of the gym. There's a lot of friends, a lot of family, and it's a constant job, takes management. You know, we gotta treat every situation individually, doing the best we can.
Bold-faced names tend to be allowed through the ropes. Like on recent visits, actor and boxing aficionado Mark Wahlberg, former world champion Evander Holyfield, and basketball greats Charles Barkley and Reggie Miller.
Very special day for me and Reggie, because we're big boxing fans. Getting to spend a day to watch one of the greatest boxers of all time train
Just a few days ago, Pacquiao's wife Jinky made her first appearance, fresh off a flight from the Philippines.
Congresswoman?
Same cuts, three.
Huh?
Do I call you Congresswoman yet?
No.
No, Vice Governor.
Oh, Vice Governor.
The new Vice Governor cuts of Sarangani Province.
Also making a rare trip stateside for this fight, the boxer's father, Rosalio.
Ang ako kagarba siya, malipay pa kong dako nga, sayo siya, dagang tao na suporta siya, nga kaluyan po sa siyang laban, kanang laban karon.
Through it all, the commotion, the cameras, the callers, the boxer's focus has been sharp. A far cry from what transpired a year ago.
The last fight we fought against Marquez, there was a lot of distractions, and they are gone. I mean, him and the wife aren't going to get divorced like they were right before the last fight. There was a lot of problems there. Manny's become a better person, a better husband. I asked Jinky, I said, are you happy? She goes, I'm the happiest I've ever been. So that's a good sign.
All the distraction is gone now, and 100% focus for this fight, and always pray. Pray to God.
In Mexico City, training camp for Juan Manuel Marquez is winding down. And as the fighter arrives for his final workout at the Romanza gym, a sizable crowd is awaiting him. With his fourth meeting with Pacquiao drawing near, the boxer says he's anxious for the opening bell.
Contento de que prácticamente la pelea ya está a una semana. Ya lo que quiero después de todo el entrenamiento es subirme al ring a pelear y a ganar otra vez.
The focus today is to maximize intensity, and the boxer looks to be peaking nicely after nearly 2 months in the gym.
Son los últimos días de estar practicando combinaciones con velocidad.
After more than a quarter century in Marquez's corner, one might think that Nacho Beristain has little left to teach his prized pupil. But the trainer knows that every last instruction and every last punch could make the difference Saturday night.
Si ves que titubea tantito con una combinación continúa, ahora auméntale un golpe. Porque la otra vez no lo tumbaste porque te faltó el derechazo. Por la experiencia de tantos años estar metido en esto, me siento tranquilo. Tengo fe en que partimos con un trabajo bien hecho y que merecemos ganar.
For Marquez, success in the ring has progressively extended his notoriety outside of it, as evidenced with a red carpet rollout at a cinema downtown. Surrounded by his family, the fighter is being feted for the premiere of Libra por Libra, Pound for Pound, a documentary about his life.
Bueno, el significado de venir a la premiere de tu película es algo muy importante, algo muy motivacional para mí. Como dice ese dicho, el que siembra cosecha. Entonces nosotros hemos sembrado esfuerzo, hemos sembrado disciplina. Es por eso que pues yo creo que las peleas grandes llegan y al llegar las peleas grandes llega el reconocimiento de la gente. Gracias a todos. Gracias.
The curtain rises at 8 p.m. sharp. During Manny Pacquiao's previous training camp, free time was devoted exclusively to Bible study. This time out, religion is still a priority, but so are darts.
Sabay-sabay ng championship lahat. Maglaro. Ang championship sa C, championship sa B, championship sa A. Sabay-sabay na maglaro sila. Nasa ng championship. Para trail kayo ba? At least nakapanood tayo lahat.
The meticulously organized competition will be the last for the group Pacquiao calls his LA Boys before they depart for Las Vegas tomorrow after training. The imminent travel seems to have the smallest member of the team a bit on edge. His master, however, appears completely collected.
Yeah, tomorrow we're leaving and we're excited. It's all set.
Upstairs from the tournament, Pacquiao advisor Michael Kahns and the fighter's assistant Stephanie Roll attended some last-minute business.
Right now, we're giving tickets to the Team LA boys, but we have multiple lists here. So, you know, he has a list for the politicians, a list for VIPs, a list for actors. We do this every fight, but Manny is involved with it, and this is the first time ever he got half of it done and decided to go play darts and leave it to us to do the rest.
All in, Pacquiao will be giving away more than $1 million worth of tickets.
I don't think anybody in the history of the sport of boxing has ever done this. Nice, it understates Manny. I can't think of the real word to use right now. But he's got a huge, huge heart.
As his opponent enjoys an evening of diversion, 1,500 miles south, Juan Marquez is beginning his journey out of Mexico. A voyage that starts with a drive with his sons to the airport in Toluca, where a private jet awaits to take him to LA for some promotional obligations. He's never brought his children with him to a fight in the US, and this time will be no different. But even though they won't be ringside, the youngsters are still anxious about Saturday night.
Cada vez que así que hablamos de ese tema me pongo muy nervioso y quiero que llegue ese día. Me gustaría ir mucho a ver una, pero para mi papá es una distracción que estemos ahí. Estaría preocupado por nosotros en vez de estar más preocupado por la pelea.
Departure is scheduled for 7 p.m. sharp, but just before takeoff, the pilot turns the plane around.
We came back because the pressurization controller wasn't working quite right, so we're going to have somebody look at it.
When the problem with the pressure gauge is confirmed, it's revealed the tires could have burst at altitude, meaning the decision to ground the jet is met with little resistance.
¿Sabes quién nos puede prestar su avión? No.
In the airport lounge, the first priority is to amass essential supplies before the group moves on to discussing their next move. They can catch a late commercial flight or delay the trip a day. Nacho Beristain is typically resolute in his opinion.
Te digo que en el vuelo de ahorita es mejor para que llegues y duermas, descanses. El pedo no somos nosotros, eres tú.
Oye, flaco, me está diciendo Nacho, güey, que mejor nos saquen del vuelo ese de Violaris de aquí, güey. Nos vamos todos.
We were ready to go, right? And the airplane just suddenly stopped. I guess destiny sent us to a different airline. But you know, it's good to happen here and not there. So we're ready to go.
90 minutes later, the party is seated on Volaris Flight 5910 to Los Angeles, and it takes off without issue. When they touch down at LAX 4 hours later, the late change in plans hasn't crossed up those anticipating their arrival, and a small item of confusion with their driver is easily navigated. A good night's sleep will at last be had by all. On getaway day in Los Angeles,
Come here, Pacman.
a priceless accessory is being prepped for travel. Manny Pacquiao's dog, Pacman.
Up.
Noel Lautenko is Pacman's official handler, a full-time job that requires him to provide constant care for the Jack Russell Terrier.
Sometimes we left Pacman here. I almost cried, you know. I really love this dog, you know. Here, no. That's a kiss. Okay, kiss. Okay, kiss.
Lautenko and Pacman trail the fighter almost everywhere he goes, including his hotel of choice in Las Vegas, the Mandalay Bay.
Before, what we did is we put it in a bag to go inside the Mandalay. And then, after a while, when they see already that Pacman is already popular, they let already that the pets is okay already in Mandalay. That's it.
While the duo make last-minute preparations for the day's journey, the boxer gets to the gym early for a brief final workout. 4 rounds of sparring, followed by 4 rounds of mitts, are on the agenda before the scheduled departure through the desert.
All right, we're not going to do any photography.
not going to do any videotaping during sparring today. Thank you very much.
Just one exception is permitted to record.
Well, yeah, he's fresh, he's explosive, he's smiling, he's happy. Never get hit so hard on the mitts. He was hitting me good shots today.
While the workout wraps up, outside, the team bus is being loaded for the trip. Mitch Carter has been driving Team Pacquiao's bus since 2008, and as usual, he's on the list of lucky recipients of a free ticket to the fight.
I feel very fortunate to be able to see the fight because a lot of times the fights are sold out. And if it wasn't for Manny, I wouldn't get that chance.
Carter may be a valued member of the extended entourage, but the champ, in fact, never rides in the bus itself, preferring to head to Vegas in a less conspicuous part of the caravan. Still, in 4 hours, they'll all come upon the familiar lights in the desert together.
Thank you, Manny.
Just 6 miles southeast, at the ESPN studios downtown, Juan Marquez fulfills his media obligations before heading to Las Vegas himself.
Yo te preguntaría, ¿qué hace mejor Pacquiao? ¿Defenderse con velocidad o atacar con velocidad?
Él lo hace bien las dos cosas. Él es un peleador que con sus golpes a velocidad te quiere abrumar. Y él espera respuesta también. O sea, que él es un peleador completo.
The last 3 fights, the judges don't give a good decision. Manny Pacquiao is very strong. He's a tough fighter. I'm looking for the knockout because I don't want the judges give the decision.
It's a 30-minute drive to the Van Nuys Airport, where a private jet awaits, and this plane departs on schedule, with Fight Week beckoning in Las Vegas.
Pues la semana en Las Vegas es una semana pues, muy importante. Prácticamente 4 meses estamos enfocados en la pelea, pero es la semana previa donde estar más concentrados, donde estar más pensando en cómo hay que pelear, pensando en cómo hay que llegar pues, para subirte al ring y ahora sí ver quién es mejor.
Manny Pacquiao's caravan ends up arriving in town just after his opponent. The entourage disembarks at 8 p.m. at the Mandalay Bay, with the boss and his wife just behind. He walks into his suite on the 60th floor, just as dinner's being laid out. A morsel of micromanagement ensues.
Is it all? No, they're putting more I've got enough for 100 people.
The entourage approaches the buffet eagerly in some cases, ravenously in others.
Hi, Marquez. Me too.
Put it down your camera and eat the food.
While the champion and a select few opt for a more civilized meal in the dining room. The next morning, a few miles from the Strip, the energy of Fight Week may be less palpable, but in a 5-story building that houses state government offices,
Good morning, Athletic Commission.
fight preparations are in fact underway. Preparations that might be considered mundane, if only they were for any other bout.
One of our duties in preparation of Fight Week is we will print out the official scorecard, and then when we get to the arena about 45 minutes before the opening bell for the first fight, we'll give each official his or her individual score sheets.
A much more scrutinized task for the Nevada Athletic Commission, of course, is the selection of the judges, considering the controversial role they've played in previous Pacquiao-Marquez meetings.
We're not the judges, but we do appoint the judges, and we take it very seriously on our end. And what we do is we evaluate them, especially me, constantly. Every round of every fight to me is important. We are a subjective sport, and even if it's a close fight, half the people are gonna say, you know, fighter A won, and you're crazy if you think fighter B won, and the other half are gonna say fighter B won, you're crazy if you think fighter A won.
For big fights like this, as executive director, Keith Kaiser submits a list of candidates to his board. A public hearing then provides the opportunity for each camp to raise any concerns.
And what I do in a fight, especially a fight like this with Marquez and Pacquiao, it's actually a little easier because they fought so many times before. I don't like to recommend any of the same judges from before, regardless of whether there's controversy or not. And it makes it easier that way if the judges are looking with fresh eyes. For this fight, we're using a Nevada judge, Adelaide Bird. We're using a judge from New Jersey, Steve Weisfeld, and we're using a judge from Great Britain, John Keane.
Despite their potential to emerge as protagonists Saturday night, the trio slipped into town this week undetected by any cameras or swarms of fans, exactly what Kaiser would prefer.
Overall, what they try to do is they try to, first of all, stay away from any media leading into the fight, predictions for the fight, or the preparation for the fight, or the gamesmanship and silly rumors that the training camp spread about each other. They stay way away from that until after the final bell rings.
Let my honey come back. Sometime I'm on a rap back jack. Sometime I'm going over here. Sometime let my honey come back.
Tuesday, Team Pacquiao is back at it early, heading to the UNLV track for a workout, with the boxer pleased where he is 4 days before the bell sounds.
We're very close. Everybody's happy and Freddie and the whole team. I know what I'm gonna do.
He's there. He's there. He's right where I want him to be. He actually enjoys this. And this is when he's having fun, he's the best fighter in the world.
As Pacquiao winds down his training session, another visitor arrives unexpectedly to get some work in of his own.
Guys, Marquez coming inside.
And Juan Marquez does not alter his route as he heads to the track eyed warily by the other side.
Is it gonna be a big rumble?
No, that's just too old.
On this bright Las Vegas morning, the sides are in the same place for the first time since their press tour in September. As Marquez begins his workout, some members of Team Pacquiao keep a close watch. The overlap is in truth short, as Pacquiao and company soon head for the parking lot.
Ahí va Freddy Roach, Freddy Corolle, or Freddy Cucaracha.
For Nacho Beristain, it was an unexpected early look at the opponent, and perhaps a reminder of the challenge that lies ahead.
Yo soy un entrenador serio. Sé que ganar una pelea la tienes que ganar ahí en la esquina, meneando tus piezas del juego con inteligencia. Tengo enfrente a un entrenador como Freddy Roach, que es una amenaza, es inteligente. No solamente hay que ganarle a Pacquiao, hay que ganarle a Freddy Roach ahí en la esquina.
At the top-ranked gym that afternoon, Team Pacquiao goes through a light workout, finalizing a game plan that's been coming together for 2 months.
Just be steady. Don't look for anything. Just be steady. And fight your fight. You win every round, one at a time, all right?
For Pacquiao and Roach, the bright lights of a super fight have become commonplace. But if for years the trainer entered the ring without any doubts about the outcome, recent challenges have perhaps invited thoughts of uncertainty and what might come next.
If he doesn't pull the trigger in this fight, and I see decline in his skills, I might ask him to retire. Because I don't want Manny to be one of those guys that just is fighting for money or whatever. You know, I want Manny to be at his best at all times. That'll be a hard day for me and him, I'm sure, but I think he wants to be president of the Philippines at some point, and he has another goal, and hopefully I'll find a new champion.
Wednesday at the MGM Grand. The two teams reunite again for the final press conference. After all the history, all the controversy, all the anticipation, few words are needed.
Lo más importante de esta pelea es que él me conoce, yo lo conozco y esto va a ser una guerra.
He need to prove something for this fight, and I'm ready for that. And so it's going to be a great fight on Saturday. So thank you so much to all of you, and have a good day.
All of us have complicated relationships with time. It's a gift we use to mold our lives. It's a force that does things to us we can do nothing about. Glimpse time only in your own ever-evolving reflection. Feel it only in the ways it changes you within. 8 years have passed since they first met in the ring. 8 years that have transformed them profoundly. Blessings have multiplied and matured. Responsibilities have heightened their profile. The rewards to those who've guided them have multiplied. And while fame may have come with hazard, an occasional recalibration of values has proven indispensable. Through 3 memorable clashes, woven amid a collection of opponents, successes and trials, they've reached this point in apparent agreement. Neither can move forward in time without a resolution from the other.
Fire, more speed.
Done with the time fate has granted them. Complicated questions, for which the boxing ring, once again, promises the simplest of answers.